witchlings, welcome to Hex and Chill. This is Lou. We're super excited to have you listening to us today. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about the new moon. I am very excited about this. If you didn't know, today is the new moon and it is January 29th. We're super excited. And then we're also going to talk about some basic tarot 101. So we have cast our circle and we're inviting you to envision that ring of light around you for protection. If you are confused about this, feel free to head back to our first episode, or you can check out our TikTok, Hex and Chill, and we'll talk about how to create your own circle there.
Yep, so we've rung the bell, lit the fire, the water, and earth. So we have all four elements here with us right now. Like Lou said, we are excited to dive into some topics that are a little bit more witchy, like the new moon and talking about tarot. I think me and Shay I'm excited about tarot because it's something that we're both really into. My husband actually gave me a boo box in October, and inside I had a tarot deck, and I had kind of been like mentioning to him that I wanted one. And so I pulled it out. I watched YouTube videos about it. And then when the girls came over, I was like, let's do this. Once again, played around, did kind of looked up what it meant, what the cards meant and everything like that. And it was super like on point from the day one. And we were like, this shit's awesome.
So awesome.
We're really into that.
Yes, I just love talking with Kay and Shay about literally all of this because were things that I don't know a lot about. I feel like they know everything, and it's just we kind of fill in the gaps, and it's really cool.
And speaking of tarot, we really also just like dove into divination and using our intuition. I think a lot of people misconstrue tarot as like we're reading someone's fortune. That's not the case. Most of the time when you do tarot, it's something to either give you clarity on, like it's really just pulling out what you already know, and it's just like giving you that validation. And it can also be used as a warning, but really it's never something that we're like, I'm going to tell you your future. This is what I am currently seeing in your cards. I know that like media says that that's what we're doing, but really that's not it at all. The interpretation of the cards highly depends on the person that's drawing them and the person that they're sitting in front of, because they feel that energy.
And even the energy of the deck itself. I know you might think, ooh, Lou, that's some weird juju for a deck to have energy, but it's crazy because Kay is going to share about this. Whenever you get a new deck, you're supposed to interview your deck, and so you can get to know it. And it's really wild how much a deck can tell you about itself.
To what Shay said, we actually did for those who don't know, Halloween is kind of like the witch's new year.
And it's called Samhain.
Yeah. And we sat down with our tarot cards and we did a pull for all the full year pull for so we did one card per month. And I remember some of Shay's were like kind of scary sounding, and we were like, okay, look, what does this mean? And exactly what she just said, it was more like this, like January might be hard for you, but now you have this information. So take what we have given you and use that information for how you want that month to be. If the cards are warning you that there could be hardship, then maybe, be more intentional about that month, what we talk about a lot.
And I think it's really something that we need to point out as well because something that you don't want to do is just rely on tarot for warnings and start to live in that fear of like, oh, January is supposed to be a hard month, and so you're constantly checking on around every corner and you're having more anxiety, because that's not the goal of tarot either. And I loved what Kay just said of it's a tool so you can see, okay, this month is going to have more challenges. What can I do to set myself up to be more gentle with myself, or whatever that looks like? And so instead of living out of it in fear and being afraid of whatever is going to happen, setting yourself up.
Can I take this challenge and what can I do with it? You can pull another card and that can just give you more information. And I swear, guys, like every time we do this, it's spot on.
And I honestly don't know why we're shocked every time.
Every time. We literally just pulled a card for last episode and we were like, oh my God, this makes so much sense.
And we're getting emotional and crying of, oh my gosh. But really, it's just so cool.
I would say too, I think one of the interesting things that I've found that I love about tarot is actually getting to do it for somebody else. So I don't know how to explain this, but like whenever you start to pull tarot and you start to just feel the energy of the person sitting across from you, like for me, I start to get cold. I start to shiver, and it happens every single time because I am concentrating my energy while feeling the other energy of the other person to really understand what the deck is trying to tell them. And I even did that recently for a friend of ours, and in both of their kind of like what's coming up in the future, it talked about surgery. It talked about a big expense coming up. Literally last week, the wife of the couple, she was on her way to work and she witnessed someone hit a dog, and she got out, stopped, looked for the dog, and the person that hit the dog just kept going. She picked the dog up, she took it or put it in her car, and she took it to the vet, and it ended up needing to have surgery because its leg was broken, but it's totally fine. However, that was a surgery that had to happen in their life, and they had a big expense that they weren't expecting because they're taking care of this dog. And lo and behold, they literally just adopted the dog. So I don't know.
That's pretty cool. I didn't hear that story yet.
I love it. So the other really cool thing about tarot, which, okay, it's really cool, but it's also really overwhelming, is all of the different kinds of tarot cards. So as baby witches, and I think I can speak for all of us, we started with a very basic tarot deck, and that's what's recommended. So you don't need all the bells and the whistles and all the pretty pictures. You can still get an aesthetically pleasing. I love the aesthetically pleasing things. But you just want a very basic with the major and minor arcana and ones that have the description on the card too, because you do not need to try and memorize everything. I, for one, can't do that. I don't want to. And that's why we have the internet. Yeah. So if you're just starting in tarot, make sure you're starting with a very basic tarot deck.
Now, don't listen to what they say. They're going to say that you need to have someone gift you your deck. It's totally okay if you buy yourself your first training deck. However, when you start to get in the community, definitely look for witches who are willing to either give you one of their old decks, but that is not a requirement. I just want to name that.
Yeah, that's important. And to also say about starting off, like I also started off with only the major arcana, which is only like 22 cards, I think. I just started off with those, and that's how I felt comfortable. I think Shay and Lou might have done the whole deck. So you can do it any way that you feel called to. I kind of watched a video on what each of the major arcana meant, and I just felt really led to start off with those and get to know them. And then I added in everything else with the minor arcana as well.
And yeah, I feel like that's, I don't know, anything to make it just seem less overwhelming, honestly, is...
It's not a job.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's supposed to be fun, and it is. And for Yule this year, I was gifted a tarot deck, and it's the Cozy Witch one. And I just love this deck so much. It's also so interesting to see the personalities of your different decks. Like my first deck was my training one, and it was very straightforward, very like, you know, very good for training. And then this Cozy Witch one, she's very gentle, but she also is going to be very straight up and tell you when you need to stop.
Yeah. Why have you guys not bought me an Egyptian one yet? Guys.
Missed opportunity.
I'm going to go buy myself. Oh yeah, my birthday's coming up. So once you get that deck, whether gifted or bought or training or whatever, a great way to start off with any new deck, even if you have like 85 decks, I think you should do this with everyone because they're all unique. They all have energy.
Yeah, and you get them at different points in your journey.
Yeah. So you pull your deck out, you shuffle it. That's the other thing we will talk about. I think Shay's going to go into kind of how to shuffle, when's it call, and how to lay it out. But for now, you do just a basic shuffle, and then you're going to pull a card for each of these questions. So your first question is, what work are we meant to do together? And you pull a card and you read it, and it's going to be amazing.
I think it's also, just to add on, when you pull the card, also pay attention to what your intuition is telling you as well, because that's a big part of tarot as well. It's not just what the card actually means and everything, but it's the colors that you're noticing, the things that you're noticing about the drawing, the feelings it's bringing up, everything like that.
For me, I pulled 2 cards, everyone. I pulled what the card was trying to, like what the deck was trying to tell me, or what work we were supposed to do, and then I pulled another one for more clarification, and that felt right to me. So for the second question, you're going to say, what are you here to teach me about myself? The third question is, what are you here to teach me about the world? Which I loved that question. And then the last one is, what card best describes you? Like you as the, is it you as the deck or you as a person in this moment?
I think that depends on the witch's interpretation, honestly.
Yeah, I was going to say, I kind of did it at what card best described me. Like what the deck was trying to describe me as through its lens, kind of.
I think it does mean the
witch.
The witch, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. But also, like, if you're interviewing the deck, you could be asking the deck what card that deck, what she likes. The fifth question is, what card best describes me at this time? So it's just like a one that describes me as a person, as an Aquarius, and then one that describes me at this moment in time, which I like. It's like what describes me, and then like, can you give me a little bit more like point, like right now in this journey?
Yeah, I love that. So a lot of decks can also come with like an interview questions in them, because I noticed for the Cozy Witch deck that I just got, it also had questions. And the last question was, what is the first piece of advice you want to give me? And I also love that question because it's totally up to the deck's like interpretation as well. And also your interpretation, which I thought was cool.
So when you're starting out, I guess the best way to really do it is to do it on a larger scale. So put them on a big table, spread them all out, or put them on the floor, spread them all out, and then start to kind of mix them together to see how they naturally fall into the deck. I personally don't do that. The way that I shuffle is I actually shuffle them just like cards. I actually cut the deck into 3s, and I shuffle each one 3 times. And then I do half and half, shuffle those 3 times, and then shuffle them all together finally at 3 times. If you're not doing that, if you're not skilled at shuffling, doing bridges and stuff with a larger size card, you can always just kind of stack them into your hand. So like a few at a time, one at a time, whatever works best for you. There are lots of people that do this exactly like this, and they can do it really fast. It's really cool to see, but really that just takes practice. Then what I usually do is if I'm reading for myself, I'll cut the deck where it feels right for me. If I'm asking someone else, or I'm reading someone else's cards, then I'll ask them to cut the deck where it feels right for them, and then I'll have them stack depending on which side. And then I will usually, depending on what they're asking, usually I do a 3-card pull, where I pull 3 cards, and then I will lay them all out at the same time and then flip them over once I've gotten to that part of the tarot reading.
And some examples of the 3-card pull are past, present, future, embrace, accept, let go, tomorrow, next week, next month, stop, maybe yes, or you, them relationship. So something that is like a 3 different part, and each card you pull lands in a spot. First is mind, second is body, third is spirit. And that's how you read it. A lot of times people will read it where the card lays towards you. So if you're giving someone a reading, you lay those 3 cards, and what the person who's accepting the reading, how the card is faced, that is how you read it. So if they have a card upside down facing them, then they have an upside down card, and that's the side you read, because each card has a upright and upside down, and they both have different meanings.
Tarot is just, I don't know, I'm a nerd and love to know the history of things and all of that. So I when I very first started this journey with Kay and Shay, I actually bought a digital grimoire online just to like give me that random information that I love. And I was looking through it, and I found just some more information about tarot, and it's just super cool. And so the major arcana is 22 cards without a suit, and each represent an important stage, lesson, or shift in our life's journey. And so we're following the Fool's journey. And so the Fool is the first card of a traditional deck, and the Fool must go on to master the world and gain wisdom. The upright meaning of the major arcana cards correspond to the lessons and themes the Fool undergoes while traveling through each card. So, like when Kay was saying, starting off with the major arcana, a lot of people do that because it's for the major life events. And then the minor arcana is getting into the day-to-day, mundane everything. The Suit of Cups represents our emotions, and its numerical progression reflects our emotional journey through life. And so each of the minor arcana, suits and numbers and everything, it all plays. And so it's all really working together for a really beautiful picture. One other thing that is really important with tarot, and especially when you, like, if you ever want to gift your cards to someone, or if you're buying them for someone, everything, you always want to make sure you're cleansing them. So anytime someone touches your tarot cards, or touches anything, they're leaving some of their energy on it. And when you are doing your tarot readings for yourself, you only want your energy to be into that. So for cleansing it, there's lots of different ways you can cleanse things. We cleanse things with bells and that ringing and that sound. You can also cleanse it with smoke. You can use new moon water or just any moon water, and
Crystals.
And you could use crystals. Oh, Shay coming in clutch with the crystals.
And honestly, side note, you should do this with like anything you really bring into your home that has been, like you're buying it from Target, I think you're okay unless you want to, but you're buying it from Goodwill. You don't know what kind of energy that item has had. I just like did a whole gallery wall and I cleansed it all because I just like, you don't know what that's
very
bringing into
therapeutic.
your life. Or like new mirrors, like I always like do a sigil in water on it with the new moon water, and that always just kind of, I don't know, something about it.
It's intentional.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
are purposefully like cleaning and protecting your home.
This is my home. My energy should be in here.
Yeah.
And that's great also for people. If someone comes into your home you don't know, or like we had a big Halloween party this year and I didn't know everyone that came. And afterwards I just did a nice cleansing of the house with sage. And it just kind of made me feel like I like brought back my kids, my husband, and my energy back into our sacred space.
I love that so much. Now we're going to talk about moon magic, and I'm so excited. I am such a nerd when it comes to the moon.
Yeah, you want to talk about weirdness? The wolf moon was at the beginning of January, and we went outside and howled at the moon. So you're welcome.
It was
we're probably
so
weirder
much
than
fun.
you. So.
It was okay. And just to give you more context, we were at Kay's house, and she lives in a neighborhood with a lot of people around her, and it's
my neighbors are like 80 years old.
And we all went into the backyard and howled at the moon. It was so much fun. It was great. But yeah, so we are big fans of the moon, and Kay and Shay probably get exhausted of me. Actually, I don't think they do. They're pretty awesome of me telling them how much I love the moon and how beautiful it is all the time.
I definitely don't, because I'm a Cancer, and so that's my planet.
I love it.
Or astral being.
I love it so much. I think why I feel so drawn to the moon is because that's really where my witchy journey started about 4 years ago. So I was really good friends with a girl that I knew in Nebraska, and she was telling me about moon water. I remember thinking, this sounds hokey, but hey, I'm willing to try anything. So essentially what she was telling me is you get a jar, cup, water bottle, whatever, of water, and then you speak your intentions, manifestations into the water. Like literally you're speaking into the water, and then you put the lid on it. So you're trapping your manifestations in there, and then you let the moon charge it. And then the next morning you go out and you drink it. It's supposed to be really powerful and awesome. So I did that, and you guys, I kid you not, it was at a very trying time in my life. My aunt literally sent me $1,000 on Venmo for no reason other than, I think you're going through a hard time. Here you go. Who does that? The moon does that. Anyways, it was just really cool. But
the man and the moon.
But yeah, so that's how, I think, because that's how my journey started. That's why I just love talking about
Yeah,
the moon.
Lou lived with me for a season. She had moved away from Nebraska back to where we live, and she'd be like, Kara, do you want to put out your moon water with me? And it was like 2 years ago. And I was like, no, girl, you do that. I support you, but I'm not ready for that. And now it's funny to look back because I was like, okay, like, I don't think she ever felt judged. And if she did, I'm sorry.
No.
But it wasn't my time for that. And it was, and she did. She went out, like, she put her moon water out for the whole year she lived with me.
I did.
And it was awesome. You brought that energy into my home.
Full circle. The new moon is really awesome because it is where we get to start our journey. It's the first cycle in the moon cycle, and it's where we get to set our intentions. So the keywords for the new moon are new beginnings, fresh starts, a blank slate. And this is a time where we like to sometimes meet as a coven on the new moon and just set our goals for the month, or what we want to focus on, how we want to grow, and everything like that. And it's really beautiful because as we move through the different cycles of the moon, we just get to move together. So next after the new moon would be the waxing crescent, and that's where we get to more focus. And then we have the first quarter, which is action and decisions. And then we get to the waxing gibbous, and we get to refine and edit and kind of narrow down how we're going to reach our goals. And then we get to the full moon, which is where we get more clarity. It's kind of where we're tired because we've been working on all of this, and it's the culmination, the peak energy realization and everything. And then we get to the waning gibbous, which is where we get to kind of experience that rest and resetting and gratitude. And then we move to the third quarter, which is where we get to release the failures that we had, or just release and accept new truths and just start there. And then we get to the very end of the cycle with the waning crescent, and that's where we get to surrender, pause, and kind of get prepped for the new moon again. So it's just really cool because, especially for people who, I love setting goals, but it's kind of a shorter, because New Year's is always a really big deal for people. How many people set New Year's goals? But when we get to do moon phases, you get a new year every month. And so it's a little more, it's easier to bite. Yeah, I love it. That's why I love the moon. So I would love to invite you guys on today for the new moon to do some witchy things if you want. If you want to set out your moon water, and we're also going to do a spell, but I think Shay has something she wants to tell us.
I was just going to talk a little bit about one of my favorite rituals that we do on our new moon. And you guys can do this too, but we really like to, since the new moon is genuinely like, this is the time that we're manifesting the newness into our lives, or the things that we need to let go of. That's why it feels so refreshing. We end up writing those manifestations, the things that we want to see in the next month, or the things that we are needing that we missed out on last month. We write those intentions down. We can also talk about things that we want to leave behind, which I think is also really great. We take those writings, we put them in a fire safe bowl. Yes. Or if you have a bonfire handy, or a little to-go fire pit.
I love to-go fire pits. They are the best.
We will also have an episode on fire safety, which is a story for another time.
I have a story for you about fire safety.
We have multiple stories about fire safety.
But one, let's just say,
witches
bad.
Be witches. It's bad. Okay, let's.
Bad.
Okay, back.
Once we have written our manifestations or things we're leaving behind from last month, you will take and put them in a fire safe bowl. Make sure that they're not super folded up, because in fact it won't burn evenly, and then you won't be able to get black salt from your ashes. You'll go ahead, light them on fire, watch them burn. And like I said, if you burn them evenly, from that you can actually create black salt to eventually use in other spells or things that we will talk a little bit about in a future podcast episode.
So I think what we're going to do now is we're going to wrap it up with a moon spell from Lou. We're going to do a tarot pull from our 3 decks we like to bring, that we like to pull from each week. So we are going to do the spell, pull our deck, and then we're going to say bye for now.
This is a very easy spell with minimal supplies, which is awesome. And we're going to do a self-love spell tonight, because
love self-love.
We love self-love, and we're coming into February, and I know February holds some negative feelings about love and also positive feelings about love, but we are going to do a self-love spell. So all you will need is a pink candle and then a piece of paper. So grab a pink candle, and if you don't have a pink candle, fun witchy fact, a white candle can substitute for all other candle colors. Then you're going to write down 3 things that you love about yourself, and you're going to say aloud, I embrace the love and the person I am becoming. My light shines brighter every day. I want you to say that. Think about the things that you love about yourself. And the best part, I think, of doing spells like this and everything is I'm going to ask you, and I know it's really hard. You're going to sit there and you're going to watch your candle burn. I just want you to sit in that silence and in that warmth, in that light, and really feel the love for yourself. You are so, so deeply loved. Just watch this burn and really focus on that and settle on that. And whenever you're ready, you can blow out your candle, or if it burns all the way down and goes out itself, that's perfect. I always like to burn things because I feel like it's releasing it into the universe, wherever. And then also, like Shay said, you can create black salt. So feel free, if you want to burn the 3 things that you love about yourself. Then you will conclude your spell.
Lou, do you realize that the first spell we did as a little coven was a self-love spell? What a nice circle.
I did it. Like,
this is the first spell our audience has been taught. And
I
it's the
love
first
that.
one we did
I love that.
as baby witches.
Ugh.
Boom.
My
Because we
goodness.
welcome you. You get to join us on our
Yes.
journey. We get to help you through yours.
This was not planned. Lou's face was shocked and awed at herself. So
Always.
that is beautiful. I am so excited for you guys to try that out. We are going to now pull our deck. We love this part of our podcast. Just like we have been talking about, tarot is really important to all of us. All right, so the cards are about to be pulled. We have already shuffled them. I'm pulling from the regular deck, and I got the King of Swords for this week. I got it upright, and it said, head over heart, discipline, truthful, honesty, mental clarity, authority.
I like it. I pulled from our apothecary deck, and we got ginger. The practical uses, it reduces nausea and swelling. I love taking ginger when I am car sick. It helps with menstrual cramps, headaches, helps mitigate arthritis and diabetes. And the magical uses, we can use it in ambulance or medicine bag to foster good health and protection. You can also brew it in a tea to boost positive energy.
All right, I took a pull from our mineralogy deck, just thinking about what we were talking about and how we were releasing this on the new moon. And we pulled the card Emerald. Its origins are from Colombia, Zambia, Brazil. Emerald rules your heart and sacral chakra. So if you are having a hard time finding or identifying emerald, it is in a more cubic like cut, and it is a very, very bright green color. Hopefully you are familiar with it. You might have seen it once or twice. Now its metaphysical uses are for psychic awareness, meditation, insight, tranquility, peace, sleep, healing, divination, love, friendship, protection from evil, business success, memory, recognition, and faith.
You guys, it took so much restraint not to start singing One Short Day
Oh my
in the
gosh.
Emerald City. Just so you know, I'm pretty strong.
I'm very proud of you. I almost broke.
You're so strong.
Also,
You're a strong lady.
Also, just saying emerald is my birthstone. Whatever.
Ooh. So we're going to go ahead and close up our sacred circle. We'll do this by thanking earth, by thanking water, by thanking fire and air. Your energy has protected us and given us the ability to create a safe space. Now, we invite you all to come back and see us next Wednesday. We'll have another new episode out, and this time it's going to be a little different than what we've already been doing with our review of Blink Twice. And if you haven't seen it, go ahead and watch it so you're ready and prepared for next week.
So we want to close it off with our saying, the light in me sees the light in you. Love you guys.
Bye, witchlings.
See ya.
I hope you enjoy editing these people because they are a hot mess.